Even before we started.
Take 7,543.
And a half.
Wait, what?
I'm Josh Ferguson, that's Colton Bates, and that's Zane Tanis, and we are going to be talking about National Party conventions. Very crazy things.
Oh yeah, they're cool. You better believe it. They're awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Nowadays, they're pretty much just big parties where everybody rubber stamps something, but it used to be a big thing with lots and lots of chaos, which is great, because chaos is, who doesn't like chaos?
Yeah, they used to have lots and lots of brawls. Not very good for publicity.
I understand why this is. We have to look at what they were actually doing. We have to look into the past of these national party conventions and what they were doing in the first place.
At the conventions, the delegates from all over the country discuss the future of the party and nominate a candidate for president.
Nowadays, of course, nominations locked up well before the convention, so it isn't really anything more than everyone talking on TV.
Lots of long speeches.
Oh yeah, long speeches are great. They're like 2 hours long, and everyone just kind of stands there watching them, and it's like,
Applause.
Fourscore. But it wasn't until 1968 this was the norm. Before, it was very common to not have a nominee until the very end of a convention.
To get the nomination from a particular party, you usually have to get 2/3 of the vote. The votes are cast by delegates and superdelegates. Delegates are local party officials and congressmen, and usually have to do with their local, the people who they're, voting for tell them to do, which those people tell them to do in little mini elections that Zane will get into later. The superdelegates are high-ranking officials like former presidents or former chairmen. These people can vote as they choose, which is great for them, I suppose.
yay. This all started in 1831 when the Anti-Masonic Party held a convention in Baltimore, Maryland, which is cool because it starts with a B and then an A, so it's like reverse alphabetical. It's really cool. When they picked a single candidate to throw their support behind William Wirt, the Democratic Party was like, oh yeah, that's cool, let's do that, and then they did, and so now they do, and they're all the time now, like every 4 years. It's actually a really long period of time, but oh well, there's lots of them.
Two-party system. The way they pick candidates now is by holding little mini-elections in each of the states. The two most popular forms of these mini-elections are called primaries and caucuses. Caucuses are essentially designated areas for each candidate. People stand in the areas of the candidate they support, and people from other areas try and convince them to support different candidates. Primaries are a little bit more like actual elections in the fact that you go into a place in a designated time, you stand in line, you hide in a booth, you check the box of the person you want to be president or whatever.
Nominee.
Yeah, nominee. And basically these two forms of mini-elections are just to gauge popularity among candidates and who's going to be running against the president in election.
Or against the other party's nominee.
Most likely it's president.
So to review, national conventions are basically parties where a party nominates their man for president. Nowadays, this doesn't actually happen at the convention, but at little mini elections called either caucuses where you stand in the middle, stand in the spot in the room, trying to convince other people that that spot in the room is better than other spots, and count up the votes at the end, or primaries where you check a little box and the computer does all the work for you. All of this craziness was started by the Anti-Masonic Party in 1831, and that is national conventions for you. I'm Josh Ferguson, and that is Colton Bates, and that is Zane Tanis, and this has been National Party Conventions.